And that's the reason why China is pushing back through its diplomats called wolf warriors. China conducts foreign policy through its military. What's happening on the border with India is a way to distract the world from China's virus export, an attempt to buy time and deal with this crisis of credibility. The military offensive provides the perfect distraction. The only problem is that the world is not falling for it. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has said that America is reviewing its global deployment of forces. He acknowledges that China's challenge in Ladakh is a threat. He mentioned the growing Chinese aggression in the South China Sea and hinted at an increased military presence in the Indo-Pacific.
This is going to dictate that in certain places there will be fewer American resources. There'll be other places. I just talked about the threat from the Chinese Communist Party. So now threats to India, threats to Vietnam, threats to Malaysia, Indonesia, South China Sea challenges, the Philippines. We're going to make sure we're postured appropriately to counter the PLA. We think that's the challenge of our time, and we're going to make sure we have resources in place to do that. To the extent that that change, the difference in what the United States decides to do, impacts adversely a threat someplace, it may be that other nations need to step up and take responsibility for their own defense in ways that they hadn't done previously.
And this is bad news for Beijing. An increased presence of American troops will put more pressure on the PLA, a defense force that has not fought a war for more than 3 decades now. Already, the burden of the truth seems to be cracking Beijing. China repeatedly says it did not lose a single soldier in the Galwan clash, no casualties, says Beijing. But in its attempt at saber rattling, the Global Times has made a slip. This piece came out 2 days ago. It's written by a certain Xu Hijin, the editor of the Global Times, a man known for stirring up hostilities through his tweets. He sings praises of the PLA in this write-up too. He calls it a glorious army and threatens India. He says, do not mess with the PLA. But towards the end of this, Mr. Xu spills the beans. And I'm quoting, the dead have been treated with the highest respect in the military, and the information will eventually be reported to the society at the right time so that heroes can be honored and remembered as they deserve. Apparently, this was an attempt to pacify the families of soldiers who died in the Galwan clash. Reports say there's a video that has gone viral in China. The video shows families of the Chinese soldiers killed in action. They're outraged because the soldiers were given no honor, no acknowledgement. Now, we've not been able to independently verify this, but what we are saying next is a matter of record. China denies any casualties, and now Xu Hijin has single-handedly punctured those claims, not once but repeatedly. Before he wrote this piece, he sent out a tweet. It says that China is not releasing its casualty numbers as a goodwill measure to quote-unquote avoid stoking public mood. He says that he is a former soldier turned journalist, and if Beijing appointed him as China's mouthpiece, maybe they should consider replacing him, because thanks to him, no one believes that China had 0 casualties.